Welcome to the Arachnos podcast. I'm Maxime Marmois, project manager at IDEL, the French Livestock Institute. And I'm joined today by Jean-Marc Gauthier from the thematic network SheepNet. Hello, Jean-Marc. Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, of course, Maxime. So I do work in the same institute as you work. I'm a team leader at IDEL, the French Livestock Institute. The team is called Sensors, Equipment and Facilities.
Okay, thank you for this general presentation. Now, could you tell us a little about the thematic network SheepNet?
Yes, of course. So SheepNet is a thematic network that ended in 2019. In October, and that was a 3 years thematic network. And the aim of this thematic network was to improve the sheep productivity by tackle 3 subtopics. The first one was the reproduction, the second one the gestation, and the last one was to reduce the lamb mortality. By this, it was possible to increase the sheep productivity, which is a very important indicator for sheep farmers, dairy and meat farmers, because this is totally correlated to their efficiency in terms of production, in terms of income. And that was the aim of this thematic network. So the thematic network was run in 7 countries: France, UK, Ireland, Spain, Italy, Romania, and Turkey. And 9 partners were involved in this project with different skills that are pretty interesting to tackle the project or the problem, the issue, of the sheep productivity. So we had vet, we had researchers, we had also some advice services, and also some teachers.
Okay, so it's a multi-actor consortium with different partners across Europe.
Yeah.
And now, what was your role within the project?
So I was the coordinator of this thematic network, but I was also the network facilitator for France. Then I've been replaced during the second half of the project by another network facilitator for France. But anyway, this thematic network has been built, set up around network facilitators in each country. There were 1 network facilitators who were in charge of to manage the project for their countries and make sure that everyone will follow up the different tasks to perform within the project. I was also work package leaders of different work package, but different partners was also work package leaders.
Okay, so now you will discuss your thematic network outputs achieved and the key outputs. So the question is, what do you think were the most useful or interesting outcomes from this project?
So in fact, SheepNet was really best practice and innovation focused. That was really what we wanted to have of kind of output, some good practice to share at a European level. And the idea of SheepNet was really based on this. That means that we have the same issue, sheep productivity across Europe, and we have for sure across Europe, already solutions. And the idea of SheepNet was really to share those practice, innovations, and make them available for everyone in Europe. So really the output of SheepNet, I will say that the 42 practical solutions, plus the 88 tips and tricks that facilitates the implementation of those solutions. And everything is available on the website of SheepNet in the knowledge reservoir. You will find also videos that explain the different practice and the tips and tricks, some fact sheets as well. So very practical and easy to implement. And what we can see with SheepNet that farmers were involved in these thematic networks within their own network at national level or operational groups already had implemented some solutions that SheepNet have proposed. For instance, in France, we have implemented the solution proposed by UK, which were the use of cuisine in order to be able to perform the body condition scores on ewes, which is pretty important to assess, to make sure that the nutrition is adapted to the needs of the animals. And all those solutions were provided by the different national network shared at international level with SheepNet, and based at the beginning of the project on the need expressed by farmers and advisors in order to be able to improve their sheep productivity. So that's really something stick really to the needs of the stakeholders, and stakeholders were really part of the project. In the center of the project, they have participated to national meetings and international meetings. Every 6 months during the project, we had meetings, and they were really at the center of those meetings because solutions were really targeting these stakeholders.
Okay, thank you for this very complete explanation. Now I have a question related to materials and methods for communication and dissemination. So my question is, what materials and methods do you use for communication and dissemination, and which ones works well or not work so much?
Okay. First of all, at the beginning of the project, we did a survey in order to identify all the means of communication already existing that farmers use. And those means of communication have been then used during the project in order to reach the stakeholders, which were really the target of SheepNet. So in terms of means of communication existing, there is newspaper, of course, there are websites, technical show, like a sheep show in different countries, which are pretty relevant in order to disseminate the, let's say, the output of the project. What we did also during the project, during each meetings, we had always farm visits and demonstration on farm, what we call in SheepNet the better farm. That means that farmers who are very good result in terms of sheep productivity and have best practice already implemented and tips and tricks. And like this, we were able to show directly on farm how farmers were handling this, put in place those different tips and tricks and practice, and also be able to take videos, testimonies of farmers in order to put this on our knowledge reservoir and make it more practical for farmers. So the second, let's say the third important means in terms of dissemination was our website with the knowledge reservoir and with the different videos. Videos were really relevant and important in terms of communication.
Okay, now I would like to come back to the relationship between partners. And my question is about to get your feelings. And how did you find working with partners across Europe?
So, in fact, with the partners of SheepNet, everyone were able to speak English. Were really happy to participate with the thematic network because the issue was really shared between us. And this is a thematic network that we really set up all together. So there were no issue, and I will say the flow between us was really quite easy. And what is that was very something to put as an output or again of this project, because the thematic network SheepNet, at least all partners are involved in the different tasks. There is not only one partner involved in one, for instance, for one work package or two work package. Everyone were involved in the different task and work package. That means that everyone had to perform in their countries different tasks. And that was very important that there would be a trust between us. So in order to set up, let's say, to create a team spirit between us, we did a training at the beginning of the project on how to facilitate meeting. And this training was very important for the team building. And that really helped us to work during the 3 years of the project, because we were really in a trust meaning of trust mind between us. Pretty important, this training. So no problem to work with partners during the project. The only issue we could maybe arise from SheepNet was the language barrier for meetings, international meetings, because meetings, as I already said, farmers, stakeholders were involved during those meetings, and we wanted farmers who were better farmers, using best practice, proposing best practice and tip and tricks. And those farmers coming from Turkey, Romania, France, Spain, doesn't speak English at all. So that was pretty tricky during the project to involve them and make sure that they be able to participate to the international workshop. So there were a huge process of preparing the different meetings in order to facilitate the understanding and the involvement of the stakeholders during the meetings.
Okay, so now the last topic for today is the link related to the link between SheepNet and the Arachnos. So my question is, what do you think of the aims, the goals of Arachnos to facilitate networking between thematic networks and collate their outputs in one knowledge reservoir?
Okay, I think that Arachnos is a fantastic idea to allow thematic networks to share their way, their practice in terms of set up thematic network and manage a thematic network. So that's the first point. I think that's very important to share our issue, our best practices. That's the first point. And I really thanks Arachnos for this, because that's pretty important. And what I'm waiting from Arachnos based on this is maybe to provide guidelines for other thematic networks, or propose maybe some trainings to facilitate meeting in a multi-actor approach, to deal with language barriers, things like that. The other point that you mentioned is to have one deposit reservoir of knowledge. And I think that's also a brilliant idea, because each thematic network creates its own thematic knowledge reservoir, and that means that's time consuming, that's also budget consuming in order to set up this knowledge reservoir. So if each thematic network, instead of doing their own knowledge reservoir, could use a global, well-known by everyone knowledge reservoir, that may save time and money for everyone. But in order to do so, what is very important is to make sure that this single and global knowledge reservoir is flexible and adapted to the needs of the different thematic networks, and can be flexible in the future as well. We do have some specificity between the thematic networks in terms of approach, in terms of solution to propose. And we use also some wording, specific wording that people understand and are used to use. During meetings, for instance, we use the term of tip and tricks. Not sure that other thematic networks have tackled this thematic or this topic of finding tip and tricks. And for farmers, what they want is to easily find the tip and tricks that they have learned during the meeting. And if they don't see in the searching engine the possibility to tick tip and tricks in order to facilitate the search, there may be a problem in order to facilitate the use of the global knowledge reservoir. The second point in terms of flexibility is also the language barrier. For SheepNet, we made our knowledge reservoir available in 6 languages, which is a very huge work. And this must be something maybe provided by the EU Commission or by someone to propose a translation to help us to do this and propose, let's say, the solutions and the practice in the different language that are pretty relevant for the production target. Let's say that during SheepNet, we started with 7 countries and we ended with 14 countries participating to the different meetings. That means that we had, for instance, Portugal, we had Germany. That's other languages. We didn't propose those translation in our knowledge reservoir. So that's quite a pity, because we know that German farmers were pretty interested by our solutions have to be able to speak Italian or French or Spanish or English in order to understand and implement the solutions that are available on the knowledge reservoir of SheepNet. And that's, for me, one of the main issues. Make this available for everyone in Europe. That means be able to translate the contents in the different language pretty relevant for the productions that are tackled during the thematic network. So something that can be proposed and held by Arachnos or by the EU Commission, but something to think in the future, because if we want things available for everyone, translation is time consuming, it's a lot of budget, and each thematic network won't be able to translate in the different language of Europe.
Thank you, Jean-Marc, for sharing your experience and your tips and tricks through the SheepNet network. In conclusion, it seems important to tell that the SheepNet network is continuing and even expanding since a follow-up to this project has been given with the launch of Euroship in January 2020.
Yeah, that's also one of the good output of SheepNet. That's the network that we created, as you saw, while expanding with new countries, and this was really the basis to say that we need to follow up and Euroship, thanks to Euroship, to follow the story of SheepNet. And we do also have other projects funded by the H2020 program and by the EU Commission, based also on the output of SheepNet. For instance, one on sharing the knowledge on new technologies, precision livestock farming on sheep and goats, and that's really based on the work that have been implemented during SheepNet. So we can see that with SheepNet, that was maybe the first cornerstones of different new projects, and that's very interesting to see. That's a good story.
Thank you again, Jean-Marc, for this, for sharing your experience.
Thank you, Maxime.
The Arachnis project has received funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme under Grant Agreement number 817863.
Royalty-free music from Ben Sound.